The train station stood silent and desolate under the cover of darkness. The only sound that broke the eerie stillness was the distant howl of the wind, carrying with it a foreboding chill. It was at this hour that the last train of the night arrived, its presence announced by the screech of metal against metal as it came to a halt. Nora hesitated for a moment before stepping onto the platform, her breath visible in the cold air. She glanced around, finding no other souls in sight. A shiver ran down her spine as she made her way toward the train, its doors hissing open as she approached. The interior was dimly lit, the pale glow of flickering overhead lights casting eerie shadows across the empty seats. A sense of unease settled over Nora, but she brushed it aside, determined to reach her destination. She chose a seat near the center of the carriage and sank into it, feeling a slight unease crawl up her spine. As the train pulled away from the station, the rhythmic clatter of wheels on the tracks filled the air. Nora's gaze wandered out the window, finding only the inky blackness of the night beyond. She swallowed hard, her imagination conjuring up unseen horrors lurking just beyond the glass. Lost in her thoughts, Nora was startled when a figure materialized at the end of the carriage. It was a man, tall and gaunt, his pale face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. His attire was outdated, giving him an air of antiquity that sent a shiver down Nora's spine. The man moved with an unsettling grace, his steps barely audible against the worn, carpeted floor. He drew closer and Nora caught sight of his eyes, piercing and devoid of warmth or humanity. She averted her gaze, unable to withstand the weight of his unnerving presence. Minutes turned into an eternity as Nora endured the suffocating silence, broken only by the occasional creak of the train's aging structure. Her heart raced as the man inched closer, his presence suffusing the air with a sense of impending doom. Unable to bear it any longer, Nora mustered the courage to rise from her seat. She darted through the narrow aisle, determined to put distance between herself and the haunting figure. But no matter how fast she ran, the man matched her pace effortlessly, his relentless pursuit fueling her terror. As the train hurtled through the darkness, Nora's mind began to play tricks on her. She caught glimpses of twisted faces peering through the windows, their eyes filled with malevolence. Unearthly whispers swirled around her, carried by the wind that swept through the gaps in the train car's doors. Desperation gripped Nora's soul as she reached the end of the carriage. Without thinking, she yanked open the emergency door release, hoping for a means of escape. But instead of finding freedom, she was met with a void of absolute darkness. The abyss beckoned her, promising an escape from the horrors that pursued her. In a moment of sheer terror, Nora hesitated on the precipice. Her mind fought against the allure of the unknown, aware of the irreversible consequences that awaited her if she succumbed. She made a choice, her trembling hand releasing the door handle just in time. The door slammed shut, sealing off the darkness that threatened to consume her. The train roared forward, hurtling through the night at an impossible speed. Nora stumbled back, collapsing into a seat, her breath ragged and her heart pounding in her chest. The train's interior transformed before her eyes. The walls seemed to close in, pressing against her, suffocating her in a claustrophobic embrace. The air grew stale and heavy, laced with an indescribable malevolence that seemed to seep from the very fabric of the train itself. Terrifying visions assaulted Nora's senses. Spectral figures materialized in the seats around her, their contorted faces twisted into grotesque expressions of pain and torment. Their wails filled the air, merging into a cacophony of anguish that threatened to shatter her sanity. Nora closed her eyes, desperately trying to shut out the nightmarish scene. She whispered a plea for mercy, a desperate prayer for deliverance from the clutches of this haunted train, and in that moment of vulnerability, a sliver of light pierced through the darkness. When Nora opened her eyes, she found herself back at the train station where her journey had begun. The train had vanished, leaving behind only the remnants of her harrowing ordeal. She stumbled off the platform, her legs weak beneath her, and collapsed onto the pavement. As dawn broke on the horizon, Nora found herself standing alone on the deserted platform, the remnants of her nightmare fading into the early morning mist. Relief washed over her, a glimmer of hope that she had escaped the clutches of the haunted train. But as she turned to leave, a bone-chilling gust of wind cut through the air. Nora's heart skipped a beat as she caught sight of the train once again, materializing before her eyes. Its doors creaked open, inviting her back into its cursed embrace. A mixture of dread and curiosity gripped Nora's soul. She hesitated, torn between the instinct to flee and the unquenchable desire to confront the enigma that had haunted her throughout the night. In the end, the allure of the unknown proved too strong to resist. With hesitant steps, Nora boarded the train once more, the doors sealing shut behind her. The car was cloaked in an impenetrable darkness, the faint glow of flickering lights offering no solace. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, a palpable sense of anticipation that hung heavy in the atmosphere. As the train resumed its journey, Nora found herself in a twisted labyrinth of corridors and compartments, each more sinister than the last. Shadowy figures lurked in the corners, their malevolent eyes gleaming with wicked delight. Whispers echoed through the train, their haunting melodies seeping into Nora's very soul. She pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the train's curse. Each door she opened revealed a new horror, a macabre scene that tested the limits of her sanity. Blood-stained walls, grotesque apparitions, and the stench of decay assaulted her senses. Time lost all meaning within the confines of the train. Hours merged into an endless nightmare, blurring the lines between reality and delusion. Nora's mind teetered on the edge of madness, her grip on sanity slipping with each passing moment. Just when she thought she could endure no more, she reached the final carriage. Its doors stood ajar, beckoning her into the heart of the train's darkness. With trepidation, Nora stepped inside, bracing herself for the culmination of her harrowing journey. The interior of the carriage was a twisted reflection of the world she had left behind. A void of shadows stretched out before her, the very essence of the train's malevolence. And there, at the center of the darkness, stood a figure, a conductor clad in tattered attire, his face hidden beneath a porcelain mask. A chill ran down Nora's spine as the conductor turned toward her, his hollow eyes peering into the depths of her soul. In a voice devoid of emotion, he spoke words that echoed through the chamber, reverberating with an ancient power. "Welcome, traveler, to the eternal night," he intoned, his voice resonating with a chilling finality. Nora's heart pounded in her chest as realization dawned upon her. She had unknowingly stepped into a realm where the boundaries between the living and the dead had blurred. The train, a vessel of torment and suffering, was her eternal prison. In the depths of that unhallowed carriage, Nora would forever wander, condemned to relive her darkest fears and nightmares. The train would carry her soul through the void, an eternal passenger trapped in a perpetual journey of terror. And as the doors of the cursed train closed behind her, the darkness swallowed her whole, erasing all traces of her existence from the mortal realm.